I stared at the 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test, my hands shaking as the bustling sounds of New York City faded into a distant hum outside my tiny Brooklyn apartment window. It had been exactly 6 weeks since that impulsive night at the upscale bar in Manhattan, where I, Beau Rivera, a struggling graphic designer from a conservative family, locked eyes with Ethan Blackwood, the infamous CEO of Blackwood Enterprises known for his cutthroat business tactics and zero tolerance for weakness. What started as a heated argument over a spilled drink turned into something reckless and unforgettable. But now, as nausea gripped my stomach, I realized that one night had upended my entire life. I was pregnant with his child. The shock hit me like a subway train at rush hour. Male pregnancy wasn't unheard of in our modern world, thanks to advances in genetic therapies and hormone treatments that some men opted for, but it was rare, controversial, and often whispered about in hushed tones. I'd never planned on it. Hell, I didn't even know I carried the gene until a routine checkup last year flagged it as a possibility. But there I was, alone in my cramped studio, the test strip mocking me from the bathroom sink. My mind raced back to that evening. Ethan's piercing blue eyes, his sharp jawline clenched in frustration as he dominated the room like he owned it, which he practically did. We argued about everything from corporate greed to artistic integrity, our words laced with an undercurrent of attraction that neither of us could ignore. By closing time, fueled by too many whiskeys, we ended up in his penthouse suite overlooking Central Park, where passion overrode logic. Waking up the next morning, I slipped out before dawn, regretting the vulnerability I'd shown. Ethan Blackwood was a legend in the business world, a man who'd built his empire by dismantling competitors without a second thought. Rumors swirled about his personal life. No long-term relationships, just fleeting encounters that left people discarded like yesterday's stock reports. I convinced myself it was a one-off mistake, buried it deep, and threw myself into my freelance work. But now, with this impossible reality staring back at me, I had to face the truth. How could I, a 28-year-old guy scraping by on gig economy jobs, raise a child alone? And worse, how could I tell him? I paced the room, my phone buzzing with notifications from social media, posts about LGBTQ rights marches in the city, reminders of the ongoing debates over male pregnancy ethics. Society was divided. Progressives hailed it as a breakthrough for equality, while conservatives decried it as unnatural, fueling protests and legal battles. My own family, devout Catholics from a small town in upstate New York, would disown me if they knew. My parents had barely accepted my coming out 5 years ago. This would shatter them. I sank onto the bed, clutching my stomach instinctively. The child growing inside me was innocent, a product of one night's passion. But the world outside was anything but forgiving. Desperation led me to search online for Ethan's contact info. Blackwood Enterprises' website listed a corporate email, but reaching the man himself seemed impossible. I drafted a message anyway. We need to talk about that night. It's urgent. Hitting send felt like jumping off a cliff. Hours later, as I sketched designs for a client's logo to distract myself, my phone rang with an unknown number. Boo? This is Ethan Blackwood. What the hell is this about? His voice was as commanding as I remembered, laced with irritation. We met at a neutral coffee shop in Midtown, away from prying eyes. Ethan arrived in a tailored suit, his presence turning heads as he strode in. He sat across from me, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Make it quick. I have a board meeting in 30. I swallowed hard, the words tumbling out. I'm pregnant. It's yours. The color drained from his face, replaced by a flicker of disbelief, then anger. That's impossible. You're lying. But I showed him the test results, the doctor's confirmation. He leaned back, rubbing his temples. This can't be happening. My life is structured, business, deals, no distractions. The conversation spiraled into chaos. Ethan accused me of trapping him, of seeking a payout. I fired back, insisting I wanted nothing but his acknowledgement. This child is half yours, whether you like it or not. You can't just ruthlessly dismiss it like one of your failed mergers. He stormed out, leaving me with a wad of cash for expenses and a warning to stay silent. But as I walked home through the crowded streets, the weight of his rejection settled in. This wasn't just about us. It was about a society that forced people like me into the shadows, where choices like keeping the baby meant battling discrimination at every turn. Days turned into a blur of doctor's appointments and soul-searching. I confided in my best friend, Jamie, a fellow artist who'd navigated his own coming-out struggles. "Bo, this is huge. But you don't have to do it alone," he said over late-night pizza. Yet, Ethan's silence gnawed at me. Rumors of his company's latest hostile takeover filled the news, painting him as the villain I now knew intimately. Was he capable of change? Or would this child become another casualty of his ambition? The weeks following our confrontation were a whirlwind of isolation and introspection. I threw myself into my art, channeling the turmoil into vibrant digital illustrations that captured the raw emotion of unexpected fatherhood. My apartment, once a sanctuary of creativity, now felt like a cage, with morning sickness reminding me every dawn of the life inside. Ethan's absence was deafening. No calls, no emails, just the echo of his parting words. I began attending support groups for male pregnancies in a community center in Queens, where men shared stories of joy mingled with judgment, from family rejections to workplace biases. One guy, Marcus, recounted losing his job after disclosing his condition, fueling my fears about my own precarious freelance life. Society's conflicts loomed large. Headlines screamed about proposed laws restricting male fertility treatments, backed by religious groups arguing it defied natural order. Protests erupted outside clinics, with signs reading, "Protect traditional families," clashing against rainbow banners demanding equality. I found myself marching in one, my hand protectively over my barely showing belly, feeling a surge of defiance. But back home, doubt crept in. Was I ready to face this alone? My parents called weekly, oblivious, pressing about when I'd visit. "Bo, find a nice girl and settle down." My mom would say, her words a knife twist. Then, out of the blue, Ethan reappeared. A sleek black car pulled up outside my building one rainy evening, and there he was, drenched but determined. "We need to talk properly," he said, his voice softer than before. I let him in, wary but hopeful. Over lukewarm tea, he confessed his shock had masked deeper fears. "My father was ruthless, taught me emotions are weaknesses. I've built walls to survive in this cutthroat world." For the first time, I saw vulnerability in his eyes, the man behind the CEO facade. He admitted to researching male pregnancies, attending a seminar incognito. "This child, our child. It's terrifying, but I can't ignore it." We talked for hours, bridging the gap between our worlds. Ethan shared his rise from a troubled youth in foster care to corporate titan, driven by a need to control everything after a chaotic childhood. I opened up about my immigrant parents' expectations, the pressure to conform, and my passion for art that clashed with their dreams of stability. As the night wore on, a tentative connection formed. Not the fiery passion of our first encounter, but something grounded in shared uncertainty. He offered support, medical bills, a better apartment. "No strings," he insisted, but I sensed his walls cracking. Yet conflicts arose swiftly. Ethan's board members caught wind of whispers, pressuring him to maintain his image as the unyielding leader. A scandal like this could tank stock prices. One advisor warned in a leaked email I accidentally saw on his phone. He brushed it off, but I worried. Meanwhile, my family planned a surprise visit, forcing me to hide my growing belly under baggy clothes. The deception ate at me, especially when my sister, Maria, eyed me suspiciously. "You look different, Bo. Everything okay?" I nodded, but the lie burned. Our relationship evolved amid these storms. We met secretly in parks or cafes, discussing baby names and futures. Ethan surprised me with an ultrasound appointment at a private clinic, where we heard the heartbeat together, a moment that brought tears to his eyes. "I never thought I'd feel this," he whispered, but societal pressures mounted. A tabloid hinting at Ethan's secret life surfaced, sparking online debates about gay CEOs and family values. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. Disgusting, "Men aren't meant to carry babies." It fueled arguments between us. I pushed for openness, while he advocated caution. One explosive night, after a protest turned violent outside his office, Ethan snapped. "You don't understand the stakes, Bo. My empire could crumble." I retorted, "And what about our child? Hiding won't protect them from a world that hates what we are." We parted in anger, but the next day, he showed up with flowers and an apology. "You're right. We faced this together." It was a turning point, yet the high-stakes drama of our lives intensified, with every choice laced with potential backlash. As my belly swelled, so did the emotional depth of our bond. Ethan attended birthing classes with me, his hand on mine during breathing exercises. We navigated the minefield of public opinion, from supportive friends to judgmental strangers. But underlying it all was the question of commitment. Could a ruthless CEO truly embrace vulnerability? By the midpoint of my pregnancy, the initial shock had given way to a fragile routine. Ethan rented a spacious loft in Chelsea for us, neutral ground where we could cohabitate without labels. Mornings began with him brewing decaf coffee, his once impeccable suits rumpled from late-night work sessions interrupted by my cravings. We'd sit on the balcony, overlooking the Hudson, discussing everything from nursery designs to the ethical dilemmas of his business deals. "I've been rethinking some acquisitions," he admitted one dawn. "Maybe ruthlessness isn't the only path." It was progress born from the life we were creating. But external conflicts escalated. My parents arrived unannounced, their faces lighting up at the fancy new place, until they spotted the sonogram photo on the fridge. Chaos ensued. "What is this, Bo? You're pregnant." My father's voice thundered, echoing years of unspoken disapproval. My mother wept, invoking religion and tradition. "This isn't God's plan." I stood firm, Ethan by my side for the first time publicly. "This is our family," he declared, his CEO authority clashing with their conservative values. They left in a huff, vowing to pray for my soul, leaving me heartbroken but resolute. Workplace drama added fuel. Ethan's company faced a lawsuit from displaced employees of a recent merger, with activists linking it to his personal life. "Hypocrite, preaching progress while exploiting workers," read one viral tweet. I urged him to address it, leading to a tense board meeting where he proposed reforms, fair severance, diversity initiatives. Some applauded. Others plotted his ouster. Meanwhile, my freelance clients dwindled as rumors spread. One conservative brand dropped me, citing moral misalignment. The financial strain tested us, but Ethan refused handouts. "We'll build this together," he said. Intimate moments provided solace amid the turmoil. Late nights, we'd lie awake, his hand tracing my belly as the baby kicked. "Feel that? That's our fighter," I'd whisper. Ethan opened up about his fears of repeating his father's absenteeism, vowing to be different. We attended pride events incognito, drawing strength from the community's resilience. But a major crisis hit when a hacker leaked Ethan's emails, exposing our relationship and the pregnancy. Headlines blared, "Ruthless CEO's secret gay affair and miracle baby." Protests formed outside Blackwood Tower, supporters waving flags, opponents chanting slurs. The backlash was brutal. Ethan's stock plummeted. Investors demanded his resignation. He fought back in a press conference, declaring, "My personal life doesn't define my leadership, but it does shape my humanity." I watched from home, pride swelling despite the fear. Social media erupted in debates. Was male pregnancy a right or a risk? Should CEOs hide their truths? Friends rallied. Jamie organized a fundraiser for legal fees, but enemies multiplied. A family member leaked my story to a tabloid, painting me as a gold digger. Our bond deepened through the fire. Ethan proposed a quiet commitment ceremony, not marriage yet, but a promise. "I choose you, Bo, and our child." We exchanged vows in Central Park, witnessed by a few trusted souls. But joy was short-lived. A health scare sent me to the ER with contractions. Doctors stabilized me, but warned of stress risks. Ethan quit a major deal to stay by my side, prioritizing us over empire. As tensions peaked, we faced a pivotal choice. go public fully or retreat. I advocated transparency, believing it could inspire change. Ethan hesitated, fearing for our safety. The decision loomed, amplifying the drama of our intertwined lives. The final trimester brought unrelenting pressure, with the baby's due date circling like a deadline in Ethan's calendar. Public scrutiny intensified after the leak. Paparazzi hounded us, turning simple errands into ordeals. Ethan's board called an emergency vote on his position, citing the distraction of his personal scandal. He prepared a defense, incorporating my input on empathy and reform. "You've changed me, Beau," he said, practicing his speech. "For the better." The meeting was grueling. Accusations of weakness flew, but he emerged victorious, with a narrow vote to stay, promising sweeping changes. At home, emotional storms raged. My estranged family reached out tentatively. Maria visited, tearfully admitting, "I don't understand, but I love you." It was a crack in the wall, but my parents remained distant, their silence a wound. Ethan's past flings resurfaced in gossip columns, testing my trust. Was I just another conquest? I confronted him one stormy night. He knelt, eyes earnest. "No, you challenged me, made me feel alive." We reconciled, but the incident highlighted our vulnerabilities. Societal clashes reached a fever pitch. A national bill on male pregnancy rights stalled in Congress, sparking rallies where we spoke anonymously through allies. Ethan donated to advocacy groups, drawing ire from conservative shareholders. "You're alienating our base," one yelled in a heated call. But he stood firm, evolving from ruthless to resolute. Our story inspired fan art and support groups, but also hate mail threats that forced us to hire security. Intimacy grew in quiet ways. Ethan reading to my belly, us planning a future beyond the city chaos, perhaps a quieter life upstate. But a bombshell dropped when his ex-mentor, a rival tycoon, orchestrated a smear campaign, alleging fraud in the pregnancy. "It's a hoax for sympathy," the articles claimed. We sued for defamation, turning our private joy into a public battle. Court dates loomed, with experts debating the science of impreg, fueling national discourse on gender norms. Through it all, our choices defined us. I turned down a lucrative but unethical design job, prioritizing integrity. Ethan divested from controversial holdings, aligning his empire with progressive values. The high drama culminated in a gala where he publicly acknowledged me and the baby. "This is my family," he announced to flashing cameras. Applause mixed with boos, encapsulating the divide. As labor approached, anticipation mingled with anxiety. We prepared the nursery, painting walls in soft blues, symbolizing hope. But underlying fears persisted. Would society ever fully accept us? Labor came unexpectedly during a quiet dinner at home, the contractions sharp and insistent. Ethan rushed me to the hospital, his usual composure cracking as he held my hand through the chaos. Doctors swarmed, monitors beeping, and after hours of pain and encouragement, our son arrived, tiny, wailing, with Ethan's eyes and my dark hair. We named him Lucas, meaning light, a beacon amid our storms. Holding him, tears streamed down Ethan's face. "He's perfect," he whispered. The ruthless CEO transformed into a devoted father. The weeks postpartum were a mix of bliss and battles. Media frenzy peaked with Lucas's birth announcement, sparking renewed debates on family structures. Supporters sent gifts. Detractors picketed the hospital. My parents finally visited, their initial shock giving way to reluctant awe as they cradled their grandson. "Maybe we were wrong," my father murmured, a tentative bridge forming. Ethan's company rebounded, his reforms boosting morale and profits, proving vulnerability could coexist with strength. We navigated parenthood together. Sleepless nights, first smiles. Our bond solidified by shared trials. Ethan stepped back from daily operations, delegating to focus on us. I resumed art, creating a series on modern families that gained acclaim, turning our story into inspiration. Yet, conflicts lingered. Ongoing lawsuits, societal pushback, and internal doubts. Had we rushed into this? But Lucas's laughter erased regrets. Years blurred into milestones. Lucas's first steps in our now permanent home, Ethan's proposal on our anniversary, a quiet wedding blending our worlds. We advocated publicly, testifying for rights bills, facing backlash but fostering change. Our journey, from one reckless night to enduring love, highlighted the complexities of choice, identity, and resilience. In the end, was it right for society to judge personal choices like male pregnancy, or should individual freedoms prevail without question?